Hi everybody, my name is Raylene. I'm a mom of 3, so on this channel you'll see videos about motherhood and home decor mostly. So if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe and join the community. So in today's video, I'm gonna go over how to find the proper measurements for each picture frame box. So I will show you the sort of formula or calculations, how to do that. We'll go over how to make the cut, how to install the pieces of wood onto your wall, and then lastly, paint. The paint choice is up to you, whichever paint you choose in your home. Then you kind of like come along with me and my family to the hardware store and watch how we installed ours. And lastly, you'll go ahead and see a before and after clip of the room. So you can see how this simple DIY project really just enhances the space and fills the wall, but it's still a really calming and just simple addition to the wall. Okay, so let's get into it. So you want to hang picture frame molding in your home, which I think is a great addition to any room. So when I was getting ready to hang mine, you want to take the width of your wall, so from one side to the other. So for example, the width of my wall was 140 inches. So because I'm doing 3 boxes, I have 4 gaps that I need to account for. 2 gaps on the outer parts, and then 2 gaps that are between. And I found that I wanted 5 inches for all of those gaps. I felt like it was a good amount of space, not too much space, not too little space. So therefore 5 times 4, 5 inches times the 4 gaps was 20. So then you subtract that from your overall number. So 140 minus 20. And then if you're doing your boxes the same width, then 140 minus 20 gives you 120. 120 divided by 3 is 40. So then each box would be 40 inches. So now that you have your measurements, you know how wide each box is going to be, 40 inches. And then the height, it just depends on how high you want it, how high your ceilings are. And so yeah, that's just up to you. That can vary, depending on the room and like I said, your ceilings. Then you can, sort of plan it out. So what you can do is measure it out and get your, measuring tape and your level, and you can draw out the line so that way you know where to install the pieces of wood. That's the method that we used. We sort of just measured, used our level, drew a line, and then nailed our piece of wood onto where the line was. I would recommend installing the bottom horizontal pieces first, just like we did in this frame here. That way when you install the side vertical pieces, because of the nature of the angle, the 45-degree angle, once you place them with that bottom horizontal piece, it kind of naturally falls into a straight line, going up and down. Just use your level and make sure that the vertical pieces are straight with your level. But yeah, I would recommend doing the bottom first. And once you place the side pieces, they kind of naturally fall into place into a straight line, but always just make sure that they are straight and make sure that your spacing is even from the bottom to the top. And then another thing I would advise is to sort of know beforehand the length of the pieces that are sold at your hardware store. For me, at my local store where I got these were only sold in 8-foot pieces. So that kind of did I guess, influence us on how high to make them, because we could have gone a little higher, but we would then need like a whole new piece just to do the width. And so you want to keep that in mind. Like, say you're doing 40 inches width and your piece is 8 feet long. So 8 times 12 is 96. 96 minus 40 would be 56. So you could do the height just to keep it even, like 4 feet. You do 48 inches and you'll have like 8 inches, you know, as a scrap piece, but that does give you some wiggle room for any mistakes that you might make. You know, you don't want to get like exact, like 40 inches and then 56 inches height. It's kind of not giving you any wiggle room in case you do make a mistake when you're cutting. That's just another thing to keep in mind, because you don't want to like buy an 8-foot piece and you're only able to use that for the height. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're doing your measurements and measuring everything out. So if you have any questions, let me know below in the comments. So once you have your pieces, you measure them, and then each cut, you want to do the cut at a 45-degree angle as opposed to, you know, just a straight cut. You want the corners to have that 45 angle, like a picture frame. It just looks better that way. And then you nail them in with your nail gun. You could use liquid nails and a nail gun, but we found that the nail gun worked just fine since they're really light pieces. And then you just caulk the edges, or you know, the outside and the inside, just to give it a really seamless look. And that's pretty much it. It's really not a hard project if you have the right tools. Honestly, I've seen people use this type of tool, not even using a miter saw. So I'll link that below if you want to try that out instead of, you know, getting a miter saw. You need help carrying that over? Lowe's had more of a selection. General purpose white hardwood colonial trim. One here to do the picture frame molding. It's not that raised, which is what I was looking for.
I have a lollipop.
As opposed to like this thickness. That's kind of too thick.
Rest easy. I know a little.
We got the first box done. First box done.
Traveled.
It's looking so good. I'm so excited.
I colder because it's very hot. Now look at my ice pack.
I know.
I like 2-in-1.
So I think this is a really great solution if you have a big wall to fill, because again, you don't have to get like 1,000 frames to fill, you know, to make a gallery wall. Or even if you do like shiplap, that's a lot more material that you need for such a big space, such high ceilings, really wide area. It adds up, you know, all that wood. And so the picture frame molding is much thinner. It was like $9 for 8 feet. So I mean, you know, we still spent money on this project, but it's a lot more budget friendly compared to some other like other decor ideas you could do. And it's just so big, like to fill with a bunch of frames. Or like if you do fill with frames, the scale is just kind of off because it's such a big wall, like I said. So I think this is a great solution. You could even add like little frames inside. And because you have the picture frame molding as your border, you can then add like smaller frames and it doesn't look out of place. As opposed to like not having this and just adding small frames. If you just add small frames and you don't have, you know, these in place, it's gonna look off. It's gonna look like, oh no, you need something much larger for this space. So I'm glad that I went with this. You know, I'm glad we did this. It's so funny how when you have kids, you realize how much time you had before you had kids. And I just feel like, I remember, you know, before having kids, like just sitting down watching TV or, you know, just like sitting down and doing nothing. And then I look at those moments and I'm like, wow, like what a waste of time that was. Like I just, you know, of course, like I was productive, I worked, but there were also like there was a lot of downtime. And I'm like, geez, like I wish I would have known how much time I had. And then like at the time you feel like you don't have time to like exercise or like do like a hobby or a side hustle job. But it's like, that's when you have so much time, you just don't realize it until you have kids. And now I have 3 kids and I'm like, I swear I feel like I fill my day with like so much. Like I try to get so much done. And just try to like maximize, you know, the amount of time that I do have. But I swear, like if I would have, you know, realized how much time I had, now I'm like, wow, I could have like gotten so much done. I could have started this, could have did that. And it's just like, you know, hindsight, you know, come to realize things like later on in life. I don't know if this is the same color as the wall, is it? It's like looking a little lighter than the wall color. I mean, it probably needs to just dry, I'm hoping. I'll have to do a second coat, obviously. So if you don't have kids, make sure you realize how much time you have on your hands. Because you really do have a lot of time. Once you have kids, it's like all your time goes to your kids, which is not a bad thing. It's just something you don't really realize until you're at that stage. Okay, I don't think that color that I used is the wall paint. So I'm gonna see if we have anything else. Like if we have the actual wall paint here. I thought we did. I just don't know. where else it would be. I think this might be it. Oh yeah. What is that? What's the color? Oh, powdered. Yeah, that's the color, I think. Okay, well that's fine because it's just like I did a primer basically. So now I can paint over with this one. I'll do this for the second coat. I'm glad I checked because I'm like standing there and it looks dry. You know how it kind of changes colors when it's dry? Well, it didn't change colors. It's still like more white than, I think that's what they did like on the ceilings. Is that just like a basic white? Which is a nice white, but you know, you can tell it's not the wall color. I'll go ahead and finish off with this one. Just gotta read labels better. But see, that's like what I was talking about in one of my other videos. Oh yeah, this looks more like the wall paint. In one of my other videos, I was talking about how like I used to be super thorough with projects. But then ever since having kids, like I feel like, because Michael has them at the park right now. And so I'm like, okay, let me get this done, you know, while they're gone. And so I just assumed that was the wall paint because I didn't know that the painters left the other white, which they used on the ceilings. And so I just assumed that that was our wall paint, our wall color. But I need to like take a moment and read the label and just, you know, not be so in a rush. But I'm glad I stopped and checked, you know, after the first coat. So it's okay. Thanks for watching. Again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I hope that you kind of try this project on your own if it's something that you're thinking about. And again, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to help. And thanks for watching.